What's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. This election has if it didn't enter the twilight zone beforehand, it definitely is now. We're in freefall mode. As I think it's like 3 weeks from now, give or take, from November 8th. So I'm talking about the Trump sexual assault allegations. I've seen some people point out that at the second debate, Anderson Cooper asked Trump if he had ever inappropriately touched a woman or sexually assaulted a woman. And he said no, obviously, because he almost certainly has not, which I think is pretty clear at this point. That was a bit of a setup strategy to try to get him on tape, saying, look, he said he never did it, but we have all these women, I think four or five now, was my last count, coming out of the woodwork, conveniently, just very conveniently, 3 weeks before the election, to throw all these ridiculous charges of inappropriate touching, sexual assault, so on and so forth. I think this is a very clear sign that the powers that be have they've lost faith that they can win the election in anything remotely approaching a conventional strategy. So what they're doing now, I think, is they're trying to shoot all of these ridiculous claims into the air. And since we're so close to the election, there's not enough time for us to check each individual one to see if they're true or not. I have absolutely no faith whatsoever that there's anything even remotely true about these women and their claims that Donald Trump sexually assaulted them. So some of this shit, goes back years, and they wait till now to do it. I mean, it's not even remotely believable. And maybe it's because of all those terrorism and race riots we've had. We've kind of forgotten there's also the big phenomenon of rape hoaxes. The Rolling Stone hoax with Jackie and the gang rape never happened. The Duke lacrosse team turned out to be completely bullshit. Mattress Girl, I believe her name was Emma Solkowitz, I want to say. More bullshit. I guess that kind of fell to the side of the aisle between everything else that's going on. This is a very common strategy for political forces to try. Which is to say they weaponize sexual assault. It's just, you're a rapist. No, you're a rapist. No, you're a rapist. No, you're a rapist. There was absolutely, there's nothing of substance is going to be said. I don't think too much of substance will be said at the third debate. I imagine Trump will try very desperately hard to talk about immigration, which is what a lot of people want to talk about. It's not everyone's issue, but for a lot of people it is, which they have steadfastly avoided mentioning directly, though it will inevitably. It's going to come up somehow, and if not, then I think a lot of people just get even more angry at the media. Even more people will start chanting at CNN to tell the truth. But it does work in their favor if they can avoid bringing up immigration at the third debate, because a lot of people just they hear you supposedly called Mexicans are rapists, and that's about that's the extent of their knowledge on immigration. That's the only thing they know. So I think that's likely. So yeah, these are I don't believe any of these cases are true. Like I said, these things in some cases happened years ago. I think with the plane incident, which was the first one, it apparently happened all the way back in the fucking 90s or 80s. No, it happened back in the fucking 80s, right? And this lady, and she doesn't say anything for 30 years about how Donald Trump sexually assaulted her. Well, her story doesn't even make sense, even past that, because she said she was in coach and just got promoted to first class. I've flown a lot in my life. I got family all over the place. I tend to fly a lot when your family's scattered around. I can't say I remember a single time where I've ever been promoted to first class because nobody else bought the seat. No, I don't believe that for a second. I don't. I mean, second of all, why would Trump, who is a billionaire, who I believe at the time in the '80s was a billionaire, um, why would he be flying a commercial flight? Maybe once in a while he just sucks it up. I know he's got a private jet. I should have checked beforehand to see if he had a private jet back then. Um, if he didn't, then maybe he did just fly commercial flights. Third of all, this is something that I saw people on Reddit talking about, which is to say it probably originated on 4chan. You know, Reddit's like the mainstream. Reddit's just like eternally downstream from 4chan. Whatever it seems like the Redditors come up with, actually it was just Channers who first figured it out. When she was talking about how Trump caressed her vag, that he lifted up the armrest in the first class seat. Now, if you look at pictures of the planes they would have been using, oh yeah, she hasn't told us the date. You know, she hasn't told us like the flight, which would be very easy to verify. Probably because it didn't fucking happen. They don't want anyone checking to see like, you know, what seat Trump was in, what seat she was in. Another reason why I don't believe it. But anyway, she said he lifted up the armrest to poke her in the vag. Armrests don't move up in first class. You know, they move up in commercial and you know, normal people seats basically, because they need to make room to get people, because it's a lot smaller, right? So they need to make room to get people from, you know, the window seats to the aisle. First class, that's not an issue because you got a lot more room. You don't need to you know, make that kind of furniture with the seats. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of room to get around. So if you look at the flights and you look at the chairs that they use typically in first class, I'm saying like, I think it's 737. I don't know much about fucking airplanes, but and you can look at it and you can see that the armrest is part of the furniture. You know, like it's attached to it. It's not just a bar that sticks out. It's actually like fully attached to the seats. You can't lift that shit. Like it doesn't go up. It's like you can't lift the armrest on a couch. Like it doesn't go. I mean, you can rip the fucking cushion off, I guess. That'd be very noticeable. Which brings me to my next point, why I don't believe this plane story bullshit. Nobody fucking noticed it? You serious? If anything, Trump was more famous in the 80s and 90s than he is now. You know, everyone fucking knew about him. So people would know if he was on the fucking plane. They would be looking at him. And he just caressed her in fucking public. Are you kidding me? Like, that's just retarded. You know, at least Bill Clinton, you know, when Bill Clinton sexually assaults people, you know, when he stuck a cigar in Monica Lewinsky's vagina, I'm pretty confident he at least closed the door. You know, put those curtains in the window, you know, close those up so nobody would see. You know, just because somebody's a scumbag doesn't mean they're not smart. If anything, a lot of them probably are really smart. That's how they get away with shit like that. But yeah, so I don't believe it. I don't believe these claims at all. I might be wrong. You know, we'll find out. But we're going to find out, you know, in weeks ahead of us after the debate. Excuse me, after the election. There's not enough time to check the accuracy or the truthfulness of these claims. So it's a big smokescreen attempt to try to round up as much of the low information single women, you know, working, no, I wouldn't say working class, like, you know, middle class, pearl clutching single women vote, early 20s to early 30s, that age bracket. And soak up as much of that as it can. I don't really see that happening. I mean, they're trying to paint Trump as a sexist, but honestly, I don't see a lot of women getting mad at it. I see a lot of, you know, cuckish guys getting really mad at it. You know, Paul Ryan types. You know, actually, no, Jeb Bush is like the epitome of a cuck, of a baitish, silly little man, little Marco. Man, there's so many sayings Trump has used. They all just start blending together. I see them getting way more mad at this shit than women are, because women like aggressive guys generally. Like they like assertive men, and if you know, you can keep pretending that they're, you know, harmless angels if you want, but all right, well, they don't like it, so why would you treat them like that? And if they want you to treat them as a fucking princess, maybe they're not really worth your time in the first place. But that's kind of more on gender issues, not really anything to do with politics per se. Well, I'm kind of just rambling now. So yeah, not a very long video. I don't believe these things at all. Just a very last-ditch tactic to sink as much of Trump's support as he can. Just throw in so many allegations, so much accusations in the air that independent and undecideds, they rather not risk it, so they would just go for Clinton. Because, the media is not talking about all the shit Bill does. The media is not talking about how Clinton laughed, is recorded laughing about helping to get a pedophile off of, help him cheat a polygraph test. I'm not going to talk about that. So even if all this shit was true, Clinton's done shit way worse. It's just, you can't lie enough about Trump to make him look worse than Hillary. If you were to look at both sides and look at them for all their strikes and fouls. So yeah, take it easy. Peace.